Live
We're
right now,
live.
Vinney.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, the world. And good morning, Oslo, Norway. You might say, Vinny, what are you talking about? You know what? We have a great guest here who is a great friend of ours right here from the San Francisco Bay Area, Vinny Chopra here, and brother Beau right there in Henderson, Nevada, and brother John Rusin right there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then we got brother Gophi right there from Oslo, Norway. I'm so excited to be all together, and we're going to talk so much about marketing, about branding, about SEOs, and about how to get your name out there. And Gopi is going to share with us how he took great, big companies in Norway from the last position in the Google to the first position. So you're in for a big treat, guys. So listen up and let's introduce Gopi nicely, John. Should we, buddy?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Yep, absolutely. So, hold on. So, Gophi from Norway has his background from TV and media. So he actually is on Netflix. So very cool. He's done several productions and helps brands tell their story through social media. He's helped us tremendously. He's getting into real estate, a very aspiring real estate investor, and learning from the best Vinney Chopra here. So we're happy to have you, Gophi.
Thank you for having me.
Oh.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I kind of gave the ball away. That's who Vinny is. I got a little chirpy today, 4:15 in the morning. Brother Beau always gets up at that time, but I think I'm sleeping in till 5:15, 5:30. But today was a very early day, so we crushed it in 7 meetings. Beau, how are you doing, brother?
Good.
Yeah.
I beat you today. For some reason, I couldn't sleep, and I got up at like 3 something in the morning, and then I was like, all right. I usually make coffee at home, but I'm like, all right, what Starbucks is open? And there's a Starbucks on Eastern here in Las Vegas. So I drove like 4 miles, went to Starbucks at like 3:30 in the morning, had my skinny latte, which is sugar free with some egg whites, and then I went to the gym, and I've been working ever since, and happy to be here on Friday, and happy to have a guest that we can talk about marketing, because that's kind of my favorite thing to do is, how do you create, I guess I like to call them kind of mousetraps, right? Like you want to build social awareness and presence and be found organically. I'm more of an organic guy versus like paid ads. I know a lot of people have success with paid ads, but I've always had better results from organic marketing. And although I want to learn the paid side a little bit better so I can have a better experience. But anyways, excited to have you here and listen to some strategy.
Excellent. Everybody watching us, please, we are trying to figure out how we can interact with you. We are thinking about Zoom webinars. We are thinking about YouTube lives. I mean, all different places. But the key thing is we come 9:30 in the morning every Friday for this great Vinney and Beau show. We would love for you to come and follow us and like us, comment and share this video, which is going live right now in many channels. Thanks again for watching. Let's run with it. You bet.
All right.
All right. Gopi, kind of tell us your humble beginnings. How did you get from India to Norway, buddy? Yeah.
All right. So it was from Sri Lanka, Vinney. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I know we look alike, but I mean, you're from India. I'm from Sri Lanka, right?
Yes,
it's an island outside of India. Well, we came as refugees to Norway, and my parents has done the American dream. Came from nothing, build up a huge, future for all of us children. All of us own their own apartments. We are doing good, and we came from very humble beginnings. And for me, who is working in the media in the production space, I didn't know that one thing is to study the subject, it's to get a job or get a client, but I didn't know the market would be so rough. I mean, the competition to just reach out to the market it's so hard. And I didn't have the budgets, like the big Coca-Cola and the Pepsis. I didn't have the budgets, and I didn't know like how should I, as an individual who has not the big resources, who doesn't have the big resources, how can I reach out? How can I make something happen? And then I was thinking about my parents, because they came to Norway without any resources, right? And same with you. And I guess there's a lot of familiarities about that, like people would relate. But I was like, okay, so if I don't have the resources, I need to be resourceful.
Yes.
but
resources, which is so true in our followers, by the way. In USA, they are budding investors, right? They have very small, they're W2 people. They're trying to cut it into it. You bet.
Yeah. And then there was some, I think some surveys that if you had a foreign name, like my name is Gophi, your name is Vinney, and I know your name is longer. There was some surveys that it would be more difficult to be an immigrant or have an immigrant name in the market. And I didn't want to believe it, because my name is cool. I think Gophi is cool, Vinney is cool, Beau is cool. I mean, John is like a real name, right? So I didn't want to change my name to get into the market, and I didn't have the resources, like the big budgets for doing marketing. And somehow, God bless, social media landed on my lap, and that was the beginning when I could figure out how to reach out to decision makers, how to reach out to potential customers without having the big budgets. And that worked so good that now big clients, big brands in Norway ask me for the service, like, come and show us what are we doing wrong. Like, we have the budgets, but why aren't we getting the results we want, and why aren't we getting the target audience that we want to reach? Why is nothing happening? Should we pay more? Yeah. So that was
avatar. You're talking about the avatar, right? We need to really figure out who those people are, rather than throwing everything on the wall and see what sticks. So take us through our audience. What's the first step, second step, third step?
Yeah, I would say that if I had the best talk in the world, let's say I have a keynote and I have the best talk, and all the audience is sitting in the neighbor room, not in in the room that I'm speaking in. It doesn't matter how good my speak is, right? Like, if nobody's listening, it doesn't matter how good I am. So I would say the first step would be, like, it's easy to say, but like to really understand where is your audience, like which club are they hanging in, right? Which club, like, are they on Clubhouse? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? And I have had a lot of experience with people say, like, oh no, my audience is not on Instagram. And we found out they're actually converting more on Instagram than what the decision maker would say. So I'm not so particularly special about social media. It's just, where is your audience attention?
Wow.
Are they outside of your building? Are they in a cruise ship? Are they on the top of a building? Are they on Instagram? Like, where are they? And that needs to be, like, really, like, put on paper, and like, oh my God, they're actually on TikTok. Like, you would just how would you say it? You would be surprised what you think versus what is actually real. So many times I found out that the target audience is on a different platform that what we was thinking about. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. No, go ahead, Beau, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm having the most success, Gophi, on YouTube right now. Like, I was just telling Vinney earlier, it's great when somebody says, "Hey, I love your YouTube channel. I listen to your it's humbling. I like that." So it's like I'm doing the right thing, obviously, and I'm getting reassurance from people that are watching it, and liking it and then calling me or scheduling a call. So I put my calendar link in. So when I talk about something they want to listen to, they're going to find it through search, because what's the second largest search engine out there? YouTube. Exactly. So
Exactly.
it's so I've kind of, for years I've used YouTube, and it's the best method I've used so far. Now I'm looking for, okay, I guess I have a face for video or TV, right? So
You look good, Beau. Come on, man.
that's right.
Hey,
I got
if the audience knows, Beau shared with me, he was the movie star of HDTV.
Yeah, yeah,
Home or something for 2 years.
yeah. So I did get casted for a TV show from YouTube. True story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when I really realized, like, okay, social media is the place to be.
Yeah.
And now as I evolve, it's like, okay, well, where do I go, right? There's so many places, like you were talking about, Gophi. Do I go TikTok next, or do I do YouTube Shorts, or do I do Facebook Reels, or do Instagram Reels, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to get too spread out. I want to,
Yeah.
like, how do I get the next stepping stone from where I'm at right now to get more engagement?
So it's a two-sided answer, because as much as I want everybody to test TikTok, because you need to be like forefront and you need to test things, I think that people are not squeezing the juice enough from what's already working. So if you're saying that you're like YouTube is working, I can bet you like a lot of money that you're not like putting out enough content. So I would definitely say, like, I would definitely check, like, are you putting out 3 to 4 pieces of content a day? Like, are you actually doing that? Or are you looking for like the new trend, the new thing? But I would definitely squeeze the juice out. And then I would simultaneously test new platforms. I'm not saying that your audience is on TikTok or your audience is on LinkedIn. It's just those new platforms get new functions, and you need to know how to use them, right? I remember when I was talking to a lot of clients a couple of years ago, I told them to use Snapchat, and they just laughed me out the room and like, oh my God, Snapchat's for kids. And then Instagram copied their story function, right? And then they wanted to use the story function, and then they called me back, and I was like, guys, this is what I told you a couple of years ago, and that's how I raised my rate, because now they need it. So I would say the next step would be, are you producing enough content on the platform that is already working for you?
So let me ask you a question. Something I remember, Gophi, you had said you need people to give something for breakfast, give something for lunch, and give something for dinner. That stayed in my mind. Like you just mentioned, that you don't just post one thing, 12 o'clock at night. Even the time is very, very important, when you post it.
Definitely. And I would say that everybody should think of like YouTube or Snapchat or whatever channel. Just you'll figure out your channel, but we should think about social media as this one as the new television, right? So this is the new television. Snapchat is just one of the channels, and Facebook is just another channel. So let's say you were Discovery Channel. What would you produce as the show in the morning? What would you produce as the news show in the lunchtime? And what would you produce as the Discovery Channel show for the evening, right? It's different type of shows, and you're the producer, so you should be able to make it. This is all about real estate in attention space. So who is owning the most real estate of the attention? Who can attention grab from the audience the most? And it makes no sense to make content just for one day and not the whole week. It doesn't make sense to make content just for 1 hour. You should have like I'm not saying every hour, but you should have put out different types of content every day, several times. That's how you grab the real estate of attention. Now that you own that space, now you can move them down the cycle of sale, right? Or some decision or some investment or whatever. But you should definitely have content for the morning, content for the evening, and content for every day. This is an ever playing game, right? This is a continuous playing game.
You mentioned about Gary V also. I know he's
Oh yeah.
great. Share with us. I know you shared the stage with Gary V. I mean, and you're going to meet him also when you come here, and you're going to invite me, come there and all that, right?
Yeah. So Gary is a funny story because Gary Vaynerchuk, he actually was one of the first guys who answered my questions when I wanted to have knowledge in the corporate level, like how do I get this big clients, how do I get this big keynote speaks, how do I get decision makers to answer my phone call. And he was actually answering those questions in his own show, Ask Gary V. And then that made me understand how to do it. And then I start to earn money. I start to become a bigger brand for Norwegian people that are in that space. And so one of the big brands invited him to Norway. And then I got to meet him. And he's just been so generous. And I'm not saying like I've only met him like 2 or 3 times, but for all those times, it has been like he's taught me so much. Just being just showing way how to do it. Like not particularly sitting down with technicals, but like produce content, give, and then ask for a sale or a meeting or some So it's definitely been a pleasure to have some sort of a relationship, very small, but for those few meetings with Gary, yeah.
Sure.
I would say that most salespeople, like I guess most of us are media companies in general, right? Like even if we have a real estate business, I'm in the commercial financing space. I consider myself a media company first, right? Like I got to let people know about niches and trends and how they can fund and how they can put the capital together. And that's what I really like about Gary V. But what I really take away from Gary V is that whatever most of us think we're putting in work, we're not really putting in work, right? Like if you want to be successful, like Gary V's like direct messaging people, right? Like get an Instagram and you find somebody, let's say you want to reach out to Vinney, or you see John just bought a building and you want to congratulate and build a relationship. So like for me now, it's like, how many contacts am I making through LinkedIn a day? Genuine contacts where it's, I can like check their profile out and say, hey, I see you work at this bank. I'm in the lending space. Would love to partner with you on a deal, right? Like that's like work. Right before I got on this call, one of the lending companies I work with, they were asking me about this software where we can pull data for like property owners. And he's like, all the other managing directors say they're not getting any results. And I go, well, what are they actually doing? Like you can't just send one cold email and expect to get results. You have to create some copy and then a whole email sequence, right? And like I was explaining this to the guy that does the sales management for this team of 20 market leaders. And like, he's like, yeah, I totally get it. None of these guys are doing any of it. And they're saying the software doesn't work. And like that 30% of the emails aren't good. Well, who cares? It's because if you can't just send one email, a cold email, nobody's going to respond, right? You have to have follow-up. And that's the thing. That's what I love about Gary. He pounds that in. Like, if you're not doing that, you're not going to be successful. And you got to provide value, right?
Yeah. So there's like I think another survey that shows that you need to be exposed 8 times before even somebody like considers you.
8. Oh my gosh, we got to listen to this one, guys. Everybody, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. I'm telling you, what you said is so right, because you got to put it again and again and again and again, because the thing is, the first 3 times they will ignore you. They won't even notice you. Even the same email, right?
Exactly. So that means like if you put out a content on YouTube 1 time, that's nothing. And you put it out 2nd time, that's still nothing. And then the 8th time, you will be considered, should I still watch him, continue him, right? So you need to be exposed, like again and again and again and again. And then it will happen what Beau said, that when you start to get the comments, then you can start to reply, you can engage. And there's a wise guy out there saying contacts equal contracts. And the only difference is the letter R, which stands for relationship. So I would just, social media is like word of mouth on steroids. There's like no reason for not putting out content every day. I can understand it's hard, and like Beau is a good looking guy, John is a good looking guy. It's easier maybe to be in front of a camera, but there's not, you can put out content with written words, you can put out content with audio, you can put out like whatever fits you, but you need to put out content. And I'll tell you just a short story. I didn't know what syndication, real estate investment was, until I saw this guy Meet Kevin on YouTube talking about how people syndicated money, invested money. And then I typed syndication and I found Vinney.
All right.
And then I knew that this Vinney guy, he's a huge guy, he's a big guy. And I couldn't just send him a message because there's like, he will be bombarded with messages, right? So what I did was I actually bought a product. I started to follow him on the social web. I started to congratulate him, like Beau said, that I started to engage with him. And then John replied and say, hey, we can help you out with whatever that problem is. And then I told him, like I'm interested in this. And then it became a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And then you also provide a lot of value because you know things that the multifamily syndicator doesn't about marketing, exactly. Right? Totally. And then like, how can you provide value to Vinney and John and make it a win-win, right? Like, so there's all these the ways. I think people, you got to kind of go in with an open mind and say, how can I bring value to this person that, you know, you might even be intimidated to approach, but really we all have certain skills and we can all work together to supercharge anything, right? Like Vinney might need help on his, you know, to market for his coaching academy, right? Like I'm not getting the message out to enough students, right? And so boom, here you go. You got a guy that knows how to brand and market, right? And like, that's what it's all about. Before we got on the call, Vinney's like, you're good. You have 3 VAs, Beau, but you need operations, right? You always got to be growing. You always got to be increasing the network. And that's so true. It's like, there's a lot of moving parts. You can't be, there's no I in team. You need a team at the end of the day, right? And to do this marketing, it's very simple. You can start with one part-time VA. You can go to Upwork, Fiverr, right? You don't necessarily need to invest a ton of money to get content out there, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to look perfect. You can stutter. I mean, you're going to evolve. Your first videos are going to suck as you get better and better. You know, you can edit, you can bring in better graphics, but the point of the matter is, if you don't get started today, you'll never get started.
Yeah, and there's a normal question that I usually get, which is, all right, Gophi, you tell us to make all this content, but what should we make? About what? So if I can give you like 3 nuggets on that, my experience, usually what brings people value is 1, entertainment content, 2, relevant information, like what's the new in the market, what's the new, what does the bank says, does the Federal Reserve says, what happens to the interest, you know? And the 3rd, tools, utilities, like how to do something. So if you kind of like cross one of those, you're like good to go.
Excellent tips there. Very, very good, Gophi. That's so true. I mean, you know, the biggest thing, I hope anybody who just joined us, please go back and watch this show. We also will be able to splice it, dice it, and put it into our channels of podcast also. So we try to do this show every Friday, 9:30 a.m. across the world, actually, because we are on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on all the different channels. And the good part is that we bring specialists like Gophi for you. So let us know who you would like us to bring on the show Also like us, share this, broadcast with your friends, and let us know. I don't think they can subscribe, right, John? They could put some notifications on. Is that right? Or
Yeah, you can't subscribe at this point, but if you guys look about a week before on our Facebook, you can get a notification and it'll remind you when we go live.
okay, beautiful, beautiful. What else you could share with us, Gopi? For the next, maybe we'll go for maybe 10 more minutes. We'll try to crush it in about 35 minutes every week. People are working and so on. It's 9:30 on the Pacific Coast. I wanted to mention that, by the way, which is 12:30 on the East Coast. And what time is it in Norway now?
It's 7 p.m.
Oh, 7 p.m. tonight. Okay, yeah.
So I have a question for you guys.
Mhm.
What would you say is like the most difficult thing to do, execute, or to just get done in the social media space? You go first, Beau.
I think the most difficult thing to do is, I've got it down to a system now. The most difficult thing to do is to shoot the video.
Yeah.
Right. To just do it. But I just got to the point now where I go, you know what? I think about the idea of what I want to talk about. I don't rehearse it or anything. I let my VA maybe make a few edits because I might stutter too much or whatever. And I just said, I'm just going to put the content out there. I'm not going to plan it. I'm just going to talk about, I think about the topics in advance. Like, what are people searching for?
Yeah.
So that's easy. Like what I kind of taught myself after listening to, I can't remember the guy, he used to sell pools and swimming pools, and he created like how-tos on YouTube, and now he became this whole big marketing guy. But basically what he said was create the 30 most searched topics for your niche. So I'm in the commercial financing space, so I might do, SBA financing for 504, SBA financing for 7A, how to get $16.5 million with SBA financing. And these are things that people might be searching. So I identify those 30, and then to answer your question, is just getting in front of the camera and pressing record. And then after that, if you create a system, so I created a system. So after I do that, it's easy because I just send it. I write the description, title, and we gets edited, and then it goes to the VA and she edits the video, and it's done. And she posts. I don't have to think about it again. So the biggest is just, set aside the time to just shoot that content. But I like your fact is like, I thought I was doing enough by putting 4 videos out there a week. I got to be putting out 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you. What about you, Vinney?
No, I think the same thing. Actually, I've recorded so much.
You got too much content?
Yeah, we have so much content. We just need now to splice it, dice it. That's why we are just hiring, full-time VAs. I've got a team in Pune, then we got in Philippines, and all those things. So I think again, maybe where I can improve on, Gopi, what you have shared with us is to look at the search. What are the questions? What is the avatar asking? And then talk on that, So have that purpose. The content has to be great content, short. I'm a big speaker. I just speak for half an hour, 2 hours. That's not good. I need to concentrate and give the message in a shorter period of time.
Yeah. What about you, John?
So I would say creating the content, we have, hundreds of thousands of hours of content, but it's creating it, putting it that it's digestible, and then creating it so it's also trending. And, we want to find things that are going to go viral. They're going to get us the biggest reach. So finding those right keywords, I think that's a challenge sometimes, to know what's going to like really take off. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we're finding right now.
There's John, and everybody, there's that's the one thing I see is there's so much noise out there right now. People want to be heard, right? Like everybody's fighting to be like, when you go to Google, to be multifamily syndicator. If you can pop up organically in the first page of Google or on YouTube or whatever, that's the goal, like for any multifamily syndicator, right? Because you want to be found. And so I think right now there's a lot of noise. Kind of interesting, Gophi, I want to get your opinion on this. All right, when Clubhouse first came out, I was like completely sprung on Clubhouse. I would stay on it for hours. And then literally after like 2 weeks, like I haven't been back on it. I've just a few times. Like I thought in my mind this was going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread, and maybe it will be. I think they just had a valuation of a couple $1 billion, but like it after a while it just turned me off for some reason. I don't know what it was, and it just in the beginning I was just like, it's so engaging and this and that.
Yeah.
But I think people want to search what they want to know at that moment. And to this date, the only thing that does that is either Google or YouTube. Like I can go to YouTube right now and put in there how to finance with SBA, and I can go get my answer. And that's because my time, I'm too spread out. I can't sit on Clubhouse all day. So that's what I think is specific search is the most important in my mind.
Yeah. No, you're totally correct. I mean, I do agree, and I've seen the trend, and I've felt the same way myself. I think it's just like two-sided. Like on one hand, people should test it, and like I almost said that you guys are not old enough to know this, but when the television came, the first commercials, the first commercial on television was radio commercials. Which means they hadn't figured out how to make television content, the advertisement, right? So it's the same here. Like I remember when Facebook came, everybody was uploading the PDF screenshot of their PDF. It was like flyers, digital flyers, small letters. So it's about trying to figure out the medium and trying to make content. What's hard about podcasts and Clubhouse is that you need people who can curate and talk interesting subjects, right? And if you don't have those talk show hosts, if you don't have them and you don't have the correct guests, it will just trend downwards, right? So I think that I would give Clubhouse a chance, but I've seen the same trend as you, Beau. And unless people are giving interesting content, it will die.
Yeah, that's what I saw. When somebody came on the MSNBC, had something about the startups and all. I would like to say, let's see, Gophi, how can people reach you, and how can we increase your business in Norway?
Thank you. Well, I'm on Instagram, GHOPI, so that's a double I. And normally I used to produce Norwegian content, but GHOPII is my private account, and I'm running a lot of ads, so you probably won't see my content for the US. But because of your relationship, and people are starting to ask me questions in the US. I'm considering doing everything in a transition over to the English language.
Okay. Yeah. Surely. No, exciting. I just wanted to say to everybody, again, we come to you live on Fridays at 9:30 Pacific. And again, I'm a syndicator, I'm an investor into multifamily space, into hotels now. Also assisted senior living, also have a academy where John Rusin is the star right there, and Ethan also, and we teach, we do mastermind, I coach every week, also on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. And if you'd like to reach us, please just email Vinney at VinneyChopra.com or John, Jon, at VinneyChopra.com. Our website is VinneyChopra.com. VinneyChopra. I will put it in the comments. Beau, yourself, buddy. Yeah, put a plug, man. That's how we do it, right? To share the knowledge.
Yeah, just go to my website, beauxteen.com, or Google me, and you'll find me. I've been doing my social media presence, so you can just Google Beau, B-E-A-U, Xteen, E-C-K-S-T-E-I-N.
Xteen. All right, wonderful. And again, for Gophi, our good friend, GHOPII on Instagram. And John, you want to say something, bud? Yeah.
Great show, Gophi. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you spreading the knowledge, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right, guys.